I'm frustrated about all this shit continuously, all these years. I mean, the way that I have talked right now about many things, it may sound, as I said before, as arrogant or as full of himself, or his ego is like it's like atom, like I mean from Yu-Gi-Oh, you know. Sorry, but I wasn't the reason that my team failed. At least in game, I always asked for responsibility, and I never let people down. Nobody ever from any of my teams came to me and said, you know, FORG1VEN, what you did was really shit, man, and or like it was really bad. It cost us the game, cost us the series, blah blah blah. I tried, I played, I was committed to it. I sacrificed a lot of things, but at the end, if it doesn't win, it's not worth it. I simply missed too much of things. That's why being pro in LCS, and that's actually the sad thing about choosing to going pro and sacrificing, like let's say, my education, like, because I sacrificed technological institute, you can say, like I mean something like university, but a bit worse in Greece, to chase like not a dream, but chase this. And where does this have led? I mean, I played 3 splits, 2 relegations, 1 4th place, 2 bans, 1 fine, 1 suspension. I don't know. I guess having an individual title is salvage to everything, right? But I don't think so. I don't think it's worth it. In the end, it's too much bitterness and sadness. Like, only the way that I'm talking right now, it's fucking emo. I believe so much in myself, and I never had any chance, or I mean, I never could go to people and say, you know, when I said by far, I fully believed it. It was like channeling a beast or something, and I don't know. I had the results, I had the team, I loved playing from a team, it worked, I enjoyed it. And now this is this thingy that I don't know from where to look at it, from how to look at it, how to find something on
it. So what does that mean? What does that mean?
That means that I believe at some point I will retire, not because I want to, but because in the end it will be too much of fucking bullshit and sadness. Because I certainly don't think that I deserve all this kind of shit. Not only from the game, but also from the company which I play for. But that's how I see it. And even if my logic is flawed, I don't know. And it is sad for someone to believe that you're good at it, and you never had a chance to fucking win a title. I mean, just go take a step back and go and check the 80 guys that have won, let's say, a split in NA or a split in Europe, and check your names and compare it with, not only with me, but with people, let's say, with Freeze, because he's your second Jedi, I don't know. Compare them, and
so okay then. Let me ask you this: in the future, let's say you do hypothetically. Let's say you do keep playing. You keep playing LCS, and so to play LCS, it's really important. You've always said this in all your interviews, SI. It's really important to play lots of solo queue if you're an LCS player, right? You have to try and be Challenger.
Yeah. If you want to call yourself a professional, at least.
So to do that, that's a really important part of your practice. So in the future, if you do it, can you really just make yourself not ever rage at people, not ever say anything that's a curse word or an insult? Can you just say, like, please don't do that again, or just not say anything whatsoever? And so can you be like Genji, just don't ever even type to anyone, just do whatever the fuck you want, just farm out the wave and just always play AD carry every role?
Well, the best part about all of this toxicity thingy, there have been people in LCS that have used, or they got banned for sexism or racist comments on, based on nationality or racism, or like you get it. I mean, sexual or whatever. The only thing that I have done all these years is that when I play solo queue and I play with fucking bad player, and this guy destroys my training, because solo queue for every player is the most important tool, not only for the LCS player but even for the people outside. And he fucking destroys the whole game. The first thing that I will say, especially let's say if it is a throw or something, and I really try hard to to win the game. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? What the fuck is this? Like, I mean, I won't go and say, it was a really unfortunate and unlucky game, and next time will be better, or all this shit. It can work if I'm on a team, what I'm winning, so my frustration is to let somewhere else. Because I'm a player that I'm severely controlled by emotions. Sometimes, or most
Have
of
you
the
ever
time.
tried doing like meditation or get therapy or something?
You don't suspend someone, but one month ago, you come at him and you say to him, you're the most improved player in terms of behavior. You don't do it. Not like that. Not without a warning. Because this not only affected my team, and not only me, it affected my team. Even if it was a dumb move from me, or whatever, for the rules, which I obviously disagree with. And they should accept the fact that it's different. It's not about being allowed to flame or to behave badly or whatever. You have to fix this system. You have to protect those players. If it is me now, it will be more players in the future. Just because you don't see cases, it doesn't mean that most of the players in Europe have got several warnings for their supposedly bad behavior. It fucked my team, and they have done it with Gambit many times in a row. And what do they have to do with that? Why don't you give me fucking community hours of service or whatever? If you wanted to be severe. You're setting a bad example, but you obviously set a bad example for your company too.
If they'd
doesn't
warned
only
you,
hurt me.
would you have done something differently?
What?
If they
But
warned
what
you?
is going to happen? What is going to happen is most likely is because I don't intend that amount of changing when someone says to me, but because when I got first time fined about it, I worked around it and I did things, I even went to a neurologist for my nerves or whatever, to learn how to deal with bad players or the bad soldier system. Even if you believe it or not, yeah, I actually did it because I cared.
You went to what, a psychologist or something?
No, these people that make you find a way to manage your nerves. I don't know how it's called in English.
Okay.
And it worked. In SK it worked, but I joined Gambit, we were losing in Gambit, and everything is going to shit, and then, literally it goes to shit, and then... I already said enough. I maybe become the future case that I will be the first perma-banned player, but I already played the splits, but I wasn't being prevented from playing that. I will be banned after I played with them.
Actually, I've got a question about when you were in SK. I've got a question for you. So when SK was doing well in season 4, and obviously that lineup hadn't been expected that it was going to be really good, and they're coming first place, they're coming top 3. One of the reasons that kept being brought up over and over by SK themselves is they kept sort of almost bragging, like, wow, look, we've got this sports psychologist and he's working with everyone. And then in interviews he's saying, like, yeah, well, what I do is I work with the guys.
He wasn't living with us.
So listen, this is the question. So he's always like, what I do is I work with them and I try and find ways to, how are we going to manage, trusting teammates, and what are we going to do when we lose? And that's all great, right? That's all dynamite stuff. Keep doing that stuff. But then in SK Spring Split, you had the best team in the whole league, and then the whole thing collapsed, and it looked like people mentally collapsed. Did the sports psychologist, was it not working with him? What was the issue there?
He wasn't living with us. How can someone have... he's good. When he came, I saw this guy was quality. He was good. He wasn't just like a random... just wanted to spend time or whatever. He was good. Lucas was good, but he wasn't living with us. So how can he manage to have an outcome or an influence on us? In the previous splits, in SK, the previous splits, he was living with them in Cologne. And main teams have problems. I guess he helped them.
Let me ask you a hypothetical question. So I don't know if you know this, but even now, even when things have gone to shit, even when everyone, people were saying you suck and you can't play, and Eddie Carey will never carry again, Monte Cristo is still a huge fan of Forgiven, and he even likes your attitude and thinks it's great that you think you want to be the best player and you're working really hard. Hypothetically, if you were in a world where Monte Cristo was your coach, you think it would actually work? Do you think he has some different view on you to reality? What do you think?
The worst part is that letting other people down when they believe in you. Okay, let's say Monte Cristo likes me or whatever, and he admires my play or my playstyle or whatever.
Yeah.
How am I supposed to pay back what he likes
What is all this paying back? Why is everything about exchange for you? Forgiven, you were born in the world. You didn't ask to be born in the world. You were born. People give you nothing in the world. They give you nothing. You have to take everything from the world. No one gave you fucking anything. You take everything you need and you impose yourself. And at the end, then people remember you. Whereas before you were nothing. You were just an ant. You don't agree? You think you owe everyone in your life. Oh, I owe this guy I got from solo queue. Then this guy over here brought me into the team, so I owe him. Oh, and I owe this person because he believed in me. Maybe they do that for a reason.
The thing is, we have reached a point that I'm playing. It's not my first split or whatever, and sure. I'm not intending on changing that much because I have found a formula that works for me. I mean. And this formula includes that I won't have, let's say, problems with Riot or with their behavior department, which I never met or whatever. But for me, I play this game for so many years and I have committed so much, literally so much. I mean, I have only one living relative, like my father, and taking a decision to going pro and leaving him behind is not something that it's easy. And when I was in SK, and I didn't want to win only because I consider myself the best in my role or whatever, but because I wanted to bring to him something back. I mean, this decision that I took as a young boy, let's say, when I was 14 or 15 years old, it paid back at some point. And as I said ago, I play for so much, and that wasn't a problem in my teams in terms of performance. Yeah, sure, my attitude, yeah, sure. I could have been less of a dick or less of an ass. You can call me, I don't know. You can find phrases in English which I can't. But the only thing is that it's too much for me to handle at some point. And then on top of it, you have, the behavior department. And just because I'm a whiner, so that's actually the whole truth for the people. If you want, you can go to Riot and ask them why don't they ban me or whatever. Those people there, 1 month ago, before I get banned, they come to me and say you're the most improved player in terms of behavior in the history of LCS. And in their announcement, when I got fined, they wrote somehow that I was in top 1.5% of toxicity or something. Just because I went, just because I deviate again from this point. When I'm going to my neighborhood to play football with guys that I don't know, and a specific player makes 2 or 3 wrong passes, crosses, he gives, for fun, some goals to the enemy team, I won't be the guy that will tell him, hey man, step up, it's your time, Fuck off. Go sit in the fucking bench, you're destroying my game, you're destroying my fun, I'm not having fun, you're actually making me frustrated. And I already have too much frustration out of many things in the league. When you're winning, it's easy. It really is easy for a lot of teams. But when you are losing for way too long, it's unbearable at some point. It's unbearable because the people in Gambit, it was the best organization I've ever played. Do you know how fucking much it sucks to not perform?
Is it true that there are players in LCS, maybe even famous players, where for them it's just a job, maybe one day a long time ago they wanted to win, but now they don't think they can win, or they just play and they're like, whatever happens, and it's really chilled out for them. It's not a big deal.
They take it for granted, and I won't speak for specific players. I don't know most of them, or I don't care also, but they take it for granted. Those people are one of the 50 players that are getting paid to play on streams that they're watching them. They can, being a pro player in LCS is not as fantastic as it sounds. It doesn't pay you back that much. It also keeps you behind in many terms, mostly on your life, in general, in the gaming. But when I see people that they take this for granted and they only play in LCS just to gain a check, just because they're not getting replaced or they don't, I don't know. When I will consider myself a really bad player, because right now I'm not even top 2 or top 3. My confidence, it's reached some point when it's fucking disaster. At some point when I will consider myself really bad, I'll step aside just because someone that is younger and can be better, I won't take his place just to take money. I don't need fucking money. Like, what the fuck? Like, if money is the number one motive in the world just because it's the currency or chains, like, I don't know. I mean, it is really sad. It's really sad. I mean, at some point in our life, we have to have ethics. Like, I mean, I'm really glad, for example, that I'm one of the 50 players, but I'm for a reason there. And I'm worth of either my money or my place every single day. I want to know that I'm not keeping someone behind if he had the chance. I deserve it.
What did you think of playing with Edward?
I think it was the most fun I had. I mean, it was the best thing I have ever had the luck to play with on a team. I mean, in the start, it was really hard, you know. I mean, we had problems, like, because Edward, I have a really weird way on playing support in bot lane, and Edward was the previous Ed carries that he played with didn't give a fuck a lot. And like I had this task of like playing with him and playing for me and finding a way to work into this team and shit. But after a point, I mean, the only reason that I can imagine that I remember myself in Gambit having fun was when I was playing with Edward, duo queue, or like I was playing with him. I mean, we weren't that much successful, but for many reasons. But for example, if it was a lane phase meta or a 2v2 meta, or we have had the chance to actually play, let's say, lane phase, because he also likes it, even if he doesn't say it, just because I'm outspoken, doesn't mean that I deviated again. Sorry. It was certainly really nice. I mean, I wanted to do it for a long time. It is maybe an unfortunate period of this happening, but I obviously don't regret it, because I also kept Edward in the team, and I don't know if people believe it or not, but Gambit considered replacing Edward before I joined. And I joined, and I was like, I can make Edward work. I can help him. He can help me too. We can find our way. We did it. It wasn't like by far the best bot or whatever. It was more conservative. It was disciplined. I don't think like if you go and ask people from European split, from this split, they will say like FORG1VEN that were less than top 3 or something.
Every time I ever talked to Edward, no matter what period of time,